Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to discuss vitamin B12 that is also said to be the cobalamin. So before starting further, I want to let you know some of the exclusive facts of the vitamin B12. First one is that the vitamin B12 is the only vitamin that contains the metal ion, that is the cobalt. And the other exclusive fact that is related to the vitamin B12, it is only available through the animal sources. So if you talk about the active forms of the vitamin B12, it can exist in the two active forms. Either it may exist in methylcobalamin or 5-deoxyadenosine cobalamin. Like other group members of the vitamin B, these two active forms of vitamin B12 also act as a coenzyme. It means that they are going to support some of the enzymes that are involved in some important reactions in the body. Before going into the functions of the vitamin B12, first we need to see how vitamin B12 is absorbed and transported to the respective site, that is the liver. So when you're going to consume an animal source food, what happens? The vitamin B12 going to attach with the R protein that is present in your salivary gland. It brought the vitamin B12 towards the stomach, and over there, you know that the HCl and pepsin going to act, and it will result in the breakdown of the proteins that is present in the food. Another thing that happens in the stomach region, there is an intrinsic factor that is released by the stomach lining, and it's going to attach with the vitamin B12 and the R protein. So this complex will further move towards the intestine. Vitamin B12 transition till stomach result in the uh, formation of a complex that is vitamin B12, intrinsic factor, and the R protein. Further, this complex moves toward the intestine. So once this complex reaches to the intestine, trypsin going to interact with this complex. Trypsin is released by the pancreas, and it will result in the breakdown of the R protein that was attached with the vitamin B12 through saliva. So R protein gets separated by trypsin, and we are only left with vitamin B12 and intrinsic factor. This complex vitamin B12 and intrinsic factor are going to be absorbed through intestine at exactly at ileum region, which will further transport it towards the liver by a carrier that is said to be the transcobalamin 2. So this is how the vitamin B12 going to absorb and transport it toward the liver. Now let's talk about the functions of the vitamin B12. So I have already mentioned that both of the active forms of the vitamin B12 going to act as a coenzyme. So if we're going to talk about the methylcobalamin, it will help out an enzyme that is the methionine synthase, which is involved in the methionine cycle, and number of essential products are formed, or you can say interlinked with the this particular type of the cycle. Another active form of vitamin B12 is 5-deoxyadenosine which will act as a coenzyme for methylmalonide mutase, an enzyme involved in short chain fatty acid metabolism. So vitamin B12 as methylcobalamin is doing essential job in human body by driving out an essential cycle that is the methionine cycle, and this cycle is involved in formation of DNA, and it is also important uh, for good heart health, and even it is also involved in the formation of some of the neurotransmitters. Now let's see what vitamin B12 is contributing in methionine cycle. So if you look at this, what is happening over here, vitamin B12 is going to accept the methyl group from tetrahydrofolate, that is the product of folate cycle. So in order to drive out the methionine cycle, both vitamin B9 and B12 are needed to initiate this cycle, because the methyl group is going to donated by the vitamin B9 in the form of 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, which will be accepted by vitamin B12, and it will further going to donate this methyl group to homocysteine in the presence of methionine synthase, and homocysteine going to convert into the methionine. So this conversion is very important because some of the studies suggest that elevated level of homocysteine contributes in cardiovascular manifestations. So that's why vitamin B12 is also, you can say, involved in maintaining the good uh, health of the heart or cardiovascular systems. Another very important thing is happening at this step. You can see that the methyl group is accepted by the vitamin B12 from vitamin B9. So once it's accepted by the vitamin B12, vitamin B9 will again converted into its actual form, that is the tetrahydrofolate. That is the active form of the vitamin B9. So in this way, vitamin B12 is also involved in the recycling of vitamin B9. So vitamin B9 can also perform its function once the methyl group is accepted by the vitamin B12. So if there is a deficiency of the vitamin B12, the vitamin B9 functionality also going to be compromised because it's actively involved in the recycling of the vitamin B9. So if there is vitamin B12 deficiency, a condition can be occurred that is said to be folate trap, because folate is unable to convert it back into the tetrahydrofolate position, because there will be no substance going to accept that methyl group from the tetrahydrofolate. So let's see what else the methionine cycle is contributing for the body. And you need to remember one thing, that to drive out the methionine cycle, both vitamin B12 and vitamin B9 are important, because the vitamin B9 is donating the methyl group, and vitamin B12 is bringing to that into this cycle. So one of the important fact we came to know that the conversion of the homocysteine into methionine. Further, the methionine can be converted into another very important compound, that is the S-adenosyl methionine. So S-adenosyl methionine, that is a product of the methionine cycle, also referred as adomate or abbreviated as SAM, is a product of methionine cycle that is involved in the methylation of the DNA, RNA, and neurotransmitters. Or simply, you can say the methylation reaction due to this compound is essential for synthesis of DNA, RNA, or some of the neurotransmitters. And it is all happening because of the presence of the vitamin B12. Summarizing vitamin B12 functions in the form of methylcobalamin, we came to know that it converts the homocysteine into methionine, which is important for your heart health. Another important fact of the vitamin B12, as methylcobalamin, it regenerates vitamin B9, that is a tetrahydrofolate, and through methionine cycle, methylcobalamin going to produce or synthesize a compound, that is the SAM, which further is involved in the methylation of DNA, RNA, neurotransmitters. So that's how vitamin B12 is performing its functionality as methylcobalamin. Another active form of the vitamin B12 is adenosylcobalamin, which acts as a coenzyme with L-methyl malonyl coenzyme A mutase, and it is responsible for the conversion of L-methyl malonyl coenzyme A to succinyl coenzyme A. Then succinyl coenzyme A entered into the Krebs cycle for further metabolism and to give energy. Now let's talk about the consequences a person need to face due to the deficiency of the vitamin B12. So one of the disease that is associated with the deficiency is similar, that can also occur due to the deficiency of the vitamin B9, and it is the microcytic anemia. Because vitamin B12 is also involved in the recycling of the vitamin B9, and vitamin B9 is involved in the formation of the RBCs. So deficiency of vitamin B12 can also impair the functionality of the vitamin B9, which can affect the growth of or the formation of the RBCs. But if you talk about this peculiar condition, that is the microcytic anemia, in this condition, the cell may continue to grow larger inside but unable to divide. This is due to the malfunctioning of the DNA, because vitamin B12 is also involved in the synthesis of the DNA. So its deficiency can lead to the impaired function of the DNA. So a condition that is microcytic anemia can occur. Another disease that is associated with the deficiency of the vitamin B12 is paresthesia, which is a neurological complication. A person may feel tingling or burning or numbness effect in his or her limbs. Other mental disorders are also associated with the deficiency of the vitamin B12, which includes loss of concentration, disorientation, and even dementia, that is the loss of memory. Because I have already told you about vitamin B12, through the synthesis of the SAM, involves in the synthesis of the neurotransmitters. So deficiency can affect the synthesis of the neurotransmitter, which can lead to the neurological symptoms. Deficiency can also lead to the elevated level of the homocysteine, because it's unable to convert into the methionine without the presence of the vitamin B12, which results in the cardiovascular manifestations. So if we talk about the vitamin B12 sources, the food that is derived from the animal sources are the good sources of the vitamin B12. It includes meat, poultry, seafood, eggs, and dairy products. So dietary reference intake of the vitamin B12 is 2.4 microgram per day. which is achievable through your diet. So that's all for today. Hope you like this content. If you want more of such content, then remain in touch with this platform. Till then, Allah Hafiz.